Hey guys, how are you doing? Today I bring you 10 new games that promise to be even more difficult than Dark Souls. So, without further ado, let's start the list with Lies of P Overture, an expansion that serves as a prologue to the acclaimed action RPG Lies of P. It takes players back in time to the city of Krat, before the massacre known as the Puppet Frenzy, showing the city at its Belle Epoque peak. The DLC puts players in the role of a deadly Geppetto puppet, allowing them to explore Krat and its surroundings, unraveling mysteries and facing epic battles. The journey follows a legendary stalker, a mysterious guide who leads them through dark secrets and chilling stories. The player's choices will have consequences that reverberate in the past and present of the Lies of P world, revealing hidden truths. The narrative explores themes of surprise, loss, and revenge, culminating in a confrontation with the events that led to the Puppet Frenzy. Overture promises approximately 15 to 20 hours of gameplay. The DLC will include new weapons such as a gunblade, steel claws, and a royal bow. 2 new boss rush modes will be added, allowing players to face previously defeated bosses with insane difficulty. A death march mode will allow players to face 3 or more bosses in sequence.
I never got to say farewell. I know it changed everything, but we endured. Perhaps someday, if we can cross the bounds of time, we'll meet again.
Wuchang Fallen Feathers is a Souls-like action RPG developed by Linzi, a Chinese studio based in Chengdu, and published by 505 Games. The game is scheduled to be released on July 24, 2025 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC via Steam, Epic Games Store, and Microsoft Store, with Day 1 availability on Xbox Game Pass. It combines historical elements of the Ming Dynasty with Chinese mythology and supernatural horror, offering an immersive and challenging experience. Combat demands precision, quick reflexes, and strategy, with an emphasis on timing, positioning, and resource management such as Red Mercury. The parry window is small, increasing the difficulty for players who rely on this mechanic. Compared to games like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, Wuchang Fallen Feathers seems to maintain the Souls-like essence of high difficulty, but with a more dynamic feel due to mobility and weapon variety. The inclusion of magic and absorbed abilities may offer more options for overcoming challenges, but the learning curve remains steep.
Just another lost soul, trying to oppose fate. And fate is mine.
The Relic, First Guardian is a third-person action RPG developed by Project Cloud Games, a team based in South Korea, and published by Perp Games. The game is frequently compared to games like Elden Ring, Lords of the Fallen, and other Souls-like titles due to its focus on deliberate combat, bonfire-style checkpoints, and environmental storytelling. These elements suggest that the game will have a high level of difficulty, requiring patience and learning enemy patterns. Combat requires constant movement, dodges, and counterattacks, with an emphasis on observing enemy patterns to exploit their weaknesses. This implies that the game rewards skill and precision, common characteristics in high-difficulty games. As is typical in games with Souls-like influences, the game emphasizes storytelling through the environment, with random events, NPC interactions, and quests that expand the game's universe. Nazralath, The Fallen World, is a third-person dark fantasy action-adventure RPG developed by Euclidean Studios. Inspired by the works of Zdzisław Beksinski and H.P. Lovecraft, as well as games like Planescape Torment and Dark Souls, the game promises an engaging narrative and exploration of a richly atmospheric world. The player controls Orpheal, a fallen knight who awakens in a tomb with severe injuries and few memories of his past. He finds himself in a surreal and decaying world where exploration and dialogue are fundamental. The player's choices will shape their journey and relationships. Although specific details about gameplay mechanics and difficulty have not yet been revealed, the inspiration from Dark Souls suggests that the game may present a considerable or even greater challenge. The emphasis on combat, exploration, and decision-making indicates a progression system that may require player strategy and adaptation. Daba, Land of Waterscar, is a third-person action RPG with Souls-like elements, developed by Darkstar, an indie studio known for Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption, and published by Sony Shanghai as part of the PlayStation China Hero project. The game is in development for PlayStation 5, with the possibility of release on other platforms in the future, but without official confirmation. The game follows the Dark Souls and Sekiro formula, with combat that requires careful observation of enemy patterns, precise reactions, and strategic resource management. The presence of colossal bosses suggests intense encounters that require learning and adaptation. The parry and dodge mechanics indicate that timing is crucial, and mistakes can be punishing, leading to frequent deaths, as is typical of the genre. The variety of enemies and bosses requires players to adapt their strategies, which increases the learning curve. The Night Wanderer is a Souls-like action RPG with sci-fi and dark fantasy elements developed by the Polish studio Mighty Koi. The game is based on the acclaimed Polish book series Lord of the Ice Garden by Jarosław Grzędowicz, with the author himself collaborating on the production to ensure that the gameplay captures the spirit of the work. The game is described as a hybrid of RPG and Souls-like, with a dynamic yet tactical combat system, emphasizing challenging and rewarding gameplay, characteristic of the genre. The game uses a level design known from Metroidvania games, which suggests non-linear exploration and the need to acquire new abilities to access previously inaccessible areas. The game maintains the challenging essence of Soulslikes, with combat that requires observation, timing, and strategy to overcome enemies. The difficulty is described as high in combat, especially in melee duels, where the player must study adversaries to identify weak points.
I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion. Even though I offer all of the solutions, I wish you loved me like I love you, it's stupid. When I'm alone with you, I never feel lucid. I wish I wasn't struck by Cupid. I wish when I first saw you, I knew this. When I'm with you, I feel so useless. I feel diluted, my heart's been wounded. Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm. I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my
Lords of the Fallen 2 is scheduled for release in 2026 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC via Epic Games Store. It is a sequel to the Lords of the Fallen reboot released in 2023, and not a direct continuation of the original 2014 game. Development is being handled by Hexworks using Unreal Engine 5. It is a Souls-like action RPG inspired by From Software games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring. It features tactical third-person combat, with an emphasis on melee attacks, magic, and risk-reward mechanics. The game will maintain the essence of Soulslikes with combat that demands precision, patience, and learning from mistakes. Players will face enemies and bosses that can defeat them in a few hits, especially early on, and death will result in the loss of experience, vigor, which can be recovered by returning to the place of death. One of the highlights will be the cooperative mode with shared progression, where both players save main campaign progress as long as they are at the same stage of the game and have defeated a similar number of bosses. Wuchang Fallen Feathers is a Souls-like action RPG developed by Linzi, a Chinese studio based in Chengdu, and published by 505 Games. The game is scheduled to be released on July 24, 2025 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC via Steam, Epic Games Store, and Microsoft Store, with day one availability on Xbox Game Pass. It combines historical elements of the Ming Dynasty with Chinese mythology and supernatural horror, offering an immersive and challenging experience. Combat demands precision, quick reflexes, and strategy, with an emphasis on timing, positioning, and resource management such as Red Mercury. The parry window is small, increasing the difficulty for players who rely on this mechanic. Compared to games like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, Wuchang Fallen Feathers seems to maintain the Souls-like essence of high difficulty, but with a more dynamic feel due to mobility and weapon variety. The inclusion of magic and absorbed abilities may offer more options for overcoming challenges, but the learning curve remains steep. Grime II is the highly anticipated sequel to the acclaimed 2021 Grime, a Metroidvania with Souls-like elements developed by Cloverbyte, an Israeli indie studio, and published by Akupara Games. Announced in August 2023 during Gamescom, the game is in development for PC via Steam, with a planned release date in 2025, though no specific day has been confirmed. Combat requires precise timing of attacks, parries, and dodges with strict stamina management, called force in the game. Every action, such as attacking, dodging, or jumping, consumes stamina, which can make platforming and combat sections particularly difficult. The parry system is essential, but can be difficult to master due to the small time window. However, it is more forgiving than in games like Sekiro, and practice leads to significant rewards, such as healing and special abilities. Bosses are described as creatures dozens of times larger, that require adaptation to their strategies and attack patterns. Although initially seemingly impossible, their mechanics are fair, rewarding observation and practice. Lies of P2 will be a Souls-like action RPG, maintaining the third-person perspective, similar to the first game. There are indications that the game may incorporate open-world elements. The game will likely continue to explore narratives based on classic tales, with inspirations from stories like Pinocchio and possibly The Wizard of Oz, given Dorothy's teaser at the end of the first game. The setting should maintain the dark and elegant Belle Epoque tone, with a fictional city like Krat, marked by gothic, steampunk, and Lovecraftian horrors. The original Lies of PIT is known for its high difficulty, characteristic of the Souls-like genre. It features difficulty spikes, especially in boss fights like the King of Puppets, Simon Manus, and Laxasia, which were described as insanely difficult. And it is probable that the sequel will maintain or even increase this difficulty. Now I want to know your opinion. Do you think these games will be more difficult than Dark Souls? I'll stop here. God bless you, and until next time.
I'll do whatever it takes. Your survival is all that matters. Nothing else